Okay, we are live and late, and that's just how it goes. Sometimes shenanigans happen and we get caught up. And then sometimes we think we're gonna just not have anything to say, and then we sit here and shoot the breeze for a minute and find out that we've got plenty to say. So,
We got lots to say.
um, I would like to just for a minute address this idea of you'll thank yourself later, just because
Okay. All right.
I think that a lot of people could benefit from it, and it's just this simple. When you're trying to make a choice or an action, and if it's something you know you should do but you want to put it off or maybe blow it off, if you look at yourself in the mirror or just say to yourself, do it, you'll thank yourself later, you usually will.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I bring it up is because my husband had treatments for a week that he had to do. And it was an entire week where we had to be at the facility by 7:20 in the morning. So I got up at 5 o'clock. And usually when I get up, I go down and do what I'm going to do. And then I have, sit down and have my coffee for a little bit. And then I start moving. And something as I was getting up those mornings, the very first one said, go take a shower and get dressed. You'll thank yourself later. And I was like,
who's that?
Well, I mean, I know who says these
you know
things.
who it is. Yeah, that's true.
I actually do know who says it, but
that's true.
But the point of it is I did it, and I was like, oh yeah, because now I was able to, get dressed, take a shower, brush my teeth. Well, no, get dressed is after the shower, but whatever.
No, I figured that. I can deduce.
But then I was able to sit down and drink my coffee in peace, not having to watch the clock, because I have to hurry up now and get up and take a shower.
Right,
You know what I mean?
So the rest of the morning was peaceful.
The rest of the morning was peaceful, and we were able to get out the door and get there in plenty of time. And the treatments were only like 15 minutes long. So we were even home by, if we left at 7 o'clock, we were home by like 10 after 8 or something.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, and maybe even 8 o'clock, depending on whether or not we stopped at McDonald's for coffee. Right. But the point is, be your own cheerleader, right? Mm-hmm. You'll thank yourself later. So, so that's.
I read something earlier today that is somewhat related to that. And this is from one of the guys I follow, is an entrepreneur leader. And he said that he does a lot of fasting, right? He'll do fast, like a water fast or a juice fast. And he said the absolute hardest part of it is making the decision. Once you decide, he says, then it's just like, okay, I've made the decision.
That is true. That is true.
And so it kind of goes along the same lines as you'll thank yourself later. If you just do it, make the decision, okay, here it is. And then the rest of the day is just.
Well, it's really interesting. I mean, we had another direction we were going to go, and we'll probably get there. But I think this is worth putting out there when it comes to what you just said. I was recently at the doctor for my annual, and she did the A1C thing, which has been a struggle for me. And it went to 6.5, which in her mind is diabetes. So she called me in a prescription that, without even asking, and all of that. And so, I mean, flat out, I told her, no, I'm not taking that because it doesn't agree with me. I'm not taking it. It makes me mean. I don't want to be mean. I mean, it literally made me mean. I've been on it before, and it actually made me, and you can imagine I'm extreme already as it is. So if I'm mean, it's not pretty.
No, I anything that alters your personality, is something you want to take a step back from.
Right, especially to that degree. So, and then she wanted to send me for diabetic education, which I'm not opposed to education. So don't take that one the wrong way. But she it was a facility that's like a half an hour ride and who knows how long, and then a half an hour ride back. So I didn't even call and make the appointment. Like, No, because I am perfectly capable of educating myself.
Mm-hmm.
So what's really interesting about all this, and I've been struggling with the A1C for years, knowing she wants to put me on this medication or whatever. Well, I decided to set off on my own to actually prove to her, not just, blow smoke, but actually prove that I could manage it, that I could do it myself. So the first thing I did was I realized I had no idea what A1C even was. Like I
Okay.
knew it was a blood test. I knew it was a blood test they took. I
Yep.
knew it had something to do with blood sugar. I didn't know what. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know anything about it. Well, now I've not only learned about it, but I've also learned about things like insulin resistance and stress and cortisol and all of these
Oh,
things.
you went deep.
I did,
Nice.
because when I looked at the rest of the blood work, I was able to put together this story. See, she equates stress with anxiety, and I don't do anxiety.
Right.
She cannot wrap her mind around, I don't do anxiety, I don't need Xanax.
Right.
She
Yes.
just can't wrap her
Yep.
mind around it. But I don't do anxiety. Just don't. But there is a considerable amount of stress in my life. And what I did not know was that this kind of stress, as it generates the cortisol, it reduces the amount of dopamine. So you get this sort of dead feeling, like, yeah, meh, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Well, the problem with that is that when you are under stress, you're feeling the effects of stress. You're like, yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't realize you're under stress. So now you're under stress, you're subject to this cortisol. And if your pancreas, which is what generates the insulin, is at all challenged, basically by what you're putting in your body, like Dubai chocolate, pasta, pizza, God knows what else, which is what I was doing because I'm a comfort eater. And all of those things together create a perfect storm that cover your blood cells in sugar, because your
Mm.
body can't put out enough insulin because it's in insulin resistance. It's a long story, but short
But you
now.
you 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 kind of built the narrative of what's going on.
Right. I totally built the narrative of what's going on. I figured it out. Then I learned that if I changed my habits from that point until the 3 months that she wants to see me, there is not a chance in hell my A1C won't go down. It must go down,
Okay.
because I'm not putting the amounts of sugar
Mhm.
and, high glycemic, blah, 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 blah. So what I did was I educated myself, I figured it out, and then from there I was able to figure out a plan and make a choice that this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to follow. So it's exactly what you said. You have to decide.
Yep.
But if it's something that's more complicated than opening the window, which, I decide I want some fresh air, I decide, right? And then the action is go open the
Right.
window.
You know what's really interesting is when you internalize that. If someone said, Angie, you must eat this and you must not eat that, you would go, aha.
That's exactly right. That's
But
exactly
for
right.
you to do the deep work of figuring out what's going on here, what's my solution, like, oh, I can do that. Now you've internalized the habit or the decision, and it's yours.
And the
It's
knowledge.
and right, the knowledge and the decision, it's yours, and you're actually doing it. So
Yeah. And I
that's,
totally am doing it. I mean, I'm just now going on 2 weeks, but 2 weeks is a pretty good accomplishment.
I would say so.
And
In
it
fact,
takes only 21 days to make a habit.
I
So
was
I'm
just going to say
the
that.
way there.
I was just going to say that.
So, but I mean, isn't it interesting? Like, and it really, if you think about it, it really speaks to my philosophy, which is that we all have whatever we need within us. You have the power,
Mm.
your own self. You
Mhm.
just got to figure out how to get to it.
Yep. You are
If
your
I
own.
did not learn what A1C was, I would not understand what I was doing. But now that I know what A1C is, there's no way I'm letting any sneaky sugar in to go floating around in my red blood cells, because I'm going to go and she's going to say, oh, did you take the metformin? And I'm going to say, no, I did not.
Well, and let me tell you another thing. I know a thing or two.
I know a thing or two, right? Like, I mean, it's just, and so this kind of leads in also to the other thing we wanted to talk about, because I watched that I watched that a little bit of this documentary about a prison in Norway, and so John and I were I was asking questions to ChatGPT, and then I shared the thread with him
Yep.
so he
Yep.
can, you
Super
know,
interesting.
so he
Super
can
interesting.
read. And basically this prison in Norway, I don't remember the name of it, but it doesn't matter. There's a prison in Norway that some people want to call a hotel. But John and I, through our conversation, with ChatGPT, gathering information and whatever, decided what they're really doing is treating people like human beings.
Right. And it gets at what is the point? What is the point of prison? Or what is the point of, yeah.
Right.
Is it punishment, or is it rehabilitation?
Right.
And
So,
the answer to that question. Yep.
before we go there,
Okay.
I just want to wrap up what I was saying,
Sure.
what I was going to say about this, is that it seems to me, and I'm going to use this word they, like, who is they? They is anybody that makes money off of anything that we do, pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, doctors, whatever it might be. They want us to believe that their way is the only way. Right?
Yes.
And I believe now more firmly than ever that there's a little thread, sometimes a big thread, sometimes even a rope of fear consciousness woven in and out from all of these things, trying to make us walk on the straight and narrow. How many people would have just gone and picked up that prescription and just taken it?
Right, right. And it has directly to do with authority, right? If the authority says you must do it,
There you go.
Well, you have to do it.
That's it. And so that's not me.
Me neither.
I mean, that's just not me.
Nope, me neither.
But the point is, I'm not unique. You're not unique. We have the ability, but the reason we can do that is because we recognize it and have figured out how to leverage it. Yep. So now moving back to this prison and what you were going to say, it was a really fascinating conversation, because even the documentarian, the woman who went to the prison and interviewed, she was like, what do you mean they don't do intimate strip searches? And it was the idea that punishment must equal suffering.
Right, right.
And I mean, that's a fascinating thing to look at, because if a person, let's say, is incarcerated for 5 years, if that person is made to suffer for 5 years and then you put them out on the streets, what are they going to be like?
Worse, right? I mean,
right?
It's a no-brainer.
And then they're going to be disagreeable or timid or afraid, and they're going to go out and try to get a job, and people are going to look at them like, how?
Right.
And then
they're going to be revengeful, right?
Right, or revengeful. What's interesting to me, and it did give me it was a little heartening to me to see that there aren't as many private prisons as I thought there were, because I really thought it was way more, I really thought it was more in the 60, 70, 80%. I did not realize, what was it? I think it said it was like 10%.
Yeah, it's a low number.
It was a reasonably small amount. But these lobbyists and these private prisons really capitalize on recidivism, right?
Right.
And so their programs are really geared toward letting people go and making them turn around and come back, because that's how and that's no different really than slavery. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Yep.
because it's using human beings to fill your pocket. Now,
Yep.
and
You're right.
not to count, I mean, they make them work in the laundry or whatever for 10 cents an hour. So it's damn close to slavery anyway. The only
Yeah.
difference is that the prisoners did something to put themselves in that position, and the slaves, of course,
Did
didn't.
not. Yep.
But
I think
still,
I,
it's a global energy of, you know, oppressor and oppressed, right?
yep. I think the biggest philosophical question, that the most interesting part of this is the answer to the question, what is the purpose of prison? And if it's rehabilitation, then that prison in Norway absolutely makes the most sense in the world, because they have almost zero repeat offenders.
I mean,
They're
like literally, like what
right,
was it, like 3% or something, right?
right,
Like it was,
ridiculously low. People that end up there are counseled. There's people that spend time with them and help them figure their lives out. And like, if the point of prison is to rehabilitate and put this person back out into society and say, now you are a full member of society, and you are a cured is not the right word, but the whatever caused you to create the crime in the first place, you have worked through that and you won't do it again. I would say yes, 100%. If the point of prison is punishment, then the whole direction the whole thing goes a completely different direction. And then that the second question there is like, okay, if the point is punishment, what is punishment? Suffering. So the point is to make someone suffer for what they did,
right.
for 10 years, 20 years, forever. Is the point of prison revenge against the wrongdoer? And I know where that's coming from, is because sometimes crimes are heinous, right? Rapes and murders are just, I mean, the victim and the victim's families want revenge,
Right.
and they basically, in some cases, don't care about rehabilitation. They want
No, right.
revenge. And is
There's
that
no compassion in that
right?
conversation.
Right.
Which, don't
And
get me
the bigger
wrong, if
society,
somebody, hmm,
I was going to say, the bigger society question is that how society should work? That when someone does something wrong, the victims need to get their revenge.
well, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Uh, you know, like all these people who claim to be Christian and religious, and I have not read the Bible, don't care to read the Bible. I know that the Bible was written by men. I know it's got interesting stories in it, but you know how I feel about books, right? Like it's
Right. Maybe if
TLDR
it
for
were a
me.
video.
Yeah, not. But um, you know, there are things that I remember hearing. I did read the Bible when I was a kid,
Mhm.
which is when I figured out that it was all hooey, but in my mind. But vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Judge not,
It's
lest ye be judged. Like,
pretty
so
clear.
which the hell is it?
You picked the two major passages that speak directly to that. They
Right?
really did. Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you. So I just typed it in, and I just asked the question, what is the point of prison, punishment, or reform? In this conversation and in the evidence we've traced, so this conversation about this prison, the official answer and the real world answer are different.
Okay.
Officially, the US justice system claims the purpose of prison is a balance of punishment, deterrence, incapacitation, and rehabilitation. On paper, all four are meant to coexist. In practice, data and lived experience show the system functions primarily as punishment and control, with rehabilitation often underfunded or optional. Long sentences, harsh conditions, and privatization tilt the scale toward retribution rather than restoration. So the philosophical shift of what is what we've been circling.
Yeah.
Halden
Yep.
and similar models ask, what if the point of prison were to prevent the next harm, not to avenge the last one? That's rehabilitation and
Yep.
ultimately restoration, not punishment.
Yep.
So really, to answer your question, the point of prison is both, right? We've got a small percentage where it's rehabilitation, but a
Yeah.
larger percentage at this
Yep.
point in time.
Yeah.
But I would have to say, one of the things that we talked about is that if you go back some centuries, there were dungeons and hangmen and stocks. What were they called?
Stocks. Yeah.
Stocks, right?
Right. That's it's a
There were
humiliation thing. Yeah.
people were burned at the stake and what have you. So even though it is far from perfect, it is far from wonderful, it certainly have shifted toward the better.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that.
I mean, it's not great, and
No,
I
compared to the
think
Middle
that
Ages, yes. I think.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly. I mean, that's.
I
I
wonder
mean,
if.
maybe is it a flaw? So I believe that we decided to come here from the other side to experience having edges, to
Yeah.
experience the third dimension, to experience being human. Now, I also believe on the other side that it's like a vacuum, right? Pure love. So I believe that those that exist on the other side, souls, because I don't believe in troubled souls, I believe in troubled
Troubled
humans.
humans. Yeah.
Um, if they exist in pure love, how do they conceptualize some of the stuff that's happening here? They can't.
I know. I think it's kind of academic or intellectual.
Right. I mean,
Right. I'm going to come to this. I'm going to reincarnate, and I'm going to experience being a criminal.
right. Well, but that's not it though, right? Like they can't conceptualize that. So they say, like, for example, I want to experience abundance. I'm going to use this because it's a pretty easy way to see it and understand it.
Okay.
I want
Awesome.
to experience true abundance. Well, that's fantastic. And true abundance, when you're in a place of pure love, the idea of that would be like utopia almost.
Hmm.
The problem is when you come to the density of the third dimension, and then all of a sudden, all the imprints that your soul carries show up, the ones that you can't see while you're in this bubble of pure love. Now, all of a sudden, yeah, you made this you set this intention to experience abundance, but here we have polarity.
Hmm.
So you may incarnate into a space of pure lack, which is the energy of abundance, but the polarity of it.
The flip side, right? And you get to see abundance out there, and you get to experience
Well,
lack.
right. But I mean, you're experiencing the energy of abundance
Right. Right.
because
Yep.
lack is the polarity of it.
Yep.
It's the other,
Yep.
it's like holding a quarter in your hand and looking at the head or looking at the tail,
Hmm.
right?
Interesting.
So I think it's oh boy, people who believe God created the earth are not going to like this. But I think it's a flaw in the design because it's not something they could
Hmm.
conceptualize, right? Oh yeah, well,
Interesting.
we're going to give those people free will, and because they're not accustomed to it. That's what I believe. And the further I get into this work, the more I channel, the more I look at, the more I understand, the more I do. There's global energies in the collective that emanate from the third dimension. But fortunately, there's also global energies in the collective that emanate from the fifth dimension or the etheric dimension or
Hmm.
whatever you will. And fortunately, there are people with clear enough filters to channel the information from the fifth dimension in its pure state and not through the lens of fear and retribution.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Interesting.
it's just kind of fascinating when you look at the influence of punitive religion,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
I mean, a lot of religion is punitive in nature. Like, oh, don't do this, or you're going to go to
You're,
hell, or
yeah, you're
don't
going to
do
go
that,
to
you know,
hell.
or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. Right. Right. Okay.
But if
Well,
you
that's
look
kind of
at
built
how
into that's built into the whole psyche of.
it really is, it's built into the whole thing. So we're conditioned that way. But if you really look at it, so then because even, and this is why I believe there were some enlightened forefathers in the United States, because they were so adamant about the separation of church and state, right?
Yep.
They were so adamant about it.
Well, they
And
saw they saw how it
they saw
can
what
go
it
wrong.
they saw what it was. They saw how it could go wrong. They were enlightened. So they were woke in the 1700s, John. How do you like that?
Yeah, how do you like that? Yep. Yeah, wow.
I mean, it's a lot to think about, right? Like
Yeah,
it's it's a lot
well,
to take
and
in.
the fact that, you know, the punishment, judgment is built into the whole Christian religion, right?
It sure is. Sure is. I mean, if you're bad, you're going to hell. Like there's no redemption in that.
Right. One of my
There's
favorite.
no redemption in that at all. And isn't that the whole point of religion, redemption?
Yep.
You know, you can repent for your sins. Like, well, which is it? So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. If I sin, but I go tell the priest and put money in the box on the way out, then I'm good and I'm not going to go to hell? Is that what you're telling me?
Correct.
And if I don't do that and I sin, I'm going to hell? Is that where we're at with all of that? Like,
yes, there's the element of forgiveness in there, asking for forgiveness, which is the confession part. And then there's, on the Catholic side, there's penance. That's the money in the box. Protestant side doesn't have the penance part.
well, let's don't even get started on the
right, the details.
no, actually, on the televangelists.
Oh yeah. Oh man, right?
Like, let's don't even go there. You know, the ones that live in their mansions while the people around them are suffering through a hurricane.
Right.
The guy with the dark curly hair.
Yep, I know the guy.
Whose name I won't mention. But it starts with a J. But, I mean, and the fact of the matter is, we live on Earth. This is a human environment. It is the third dimension. So all these things are part of it. So we cannot control, ooh, this is good. We can't control those things. We absolutely cannot control what's happening. We can't control what's going on in the government. We can't control what's going on with other people. We can't control any of it. We can control how we react to it. And if we don't react to it the way they want us to react, that in and of itself is an act of rebellion.
Right. If you toe the party line, or if you fall in line, you get in step, everything's going to be fine. If you don't, that's where you're going to be singled out as a troublemaker.
Well, then I'll be singled out as a troublemaker.
I think we already have. Our name's on a list somewhere.
But the point is, you don't have to be out there up front and doing it. You have to make up your own mind. Use your vote. Use your money. You don't have to march. If it's not within you to march, you don't have to march. You have to understand how you feel. You have to not engage. Don't take the rage bait.
I agree with that.
On the social media posts, because that's what it is. And half the time when you look at the really insightful comments, they belong to an obviously fake profile. So anyway, interesting where that conversation went. And I think really it's time we gotta end the stream already.
Okay.
Right? Like it's time for us to fly.
Indeed. I have a little extra time. You want to do a reading, do a couple cards for the room?
Sure, we can do a couple cards for the room. Ooh, we have a goddess come out today. So, What is the energy in the room?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull out. Oh, all right, that's interesting.
Hmm. Interesting.
I'll show mine.
Yep.
So I got the Five of Cups, which is kind of grieving, disillusionment, disappointment. And the mantra in the Light Seers deck here says, "My tender heart helps me navigate toward my bright future." So she's got a sentence in here: "Don't allow your life force to drain away with the things you once loved. Allow your tender heart to navigate toward the curative magic of finding your faith in your future." So let your disappointments be in the past, and starting now, we're going to look towards the future.
That's all we got.
Yep, that is all we got.
So it's interesting. So mine is from the Goddess Power Oracle
Oh,
by Colette
nice.
Baron Reed, also published by Hay House. I like this on the back.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, this is the Hindu goddess Maya, and
Oh,
she's here to remind us that most everything around us is an illusion, right? I mean,
indeed.
everything is energy, and don't let the smoke screens and the glamours and the uh, magician stuff, the mentalist stuff, which I have a friend who's a mind reader, so no shade on the mind readers. Don't let that stuff be what fuels your picture of your future, right?
Right.
It's an illusion. What you're seeing right now is an illusion. The energy right now is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And the smoke will clear, the tide will turn. And if you think back quite a few years, you might remember that all of the astrologers were telling us that this was going to happen.
That
So,
is true. Yes. Some big shifts are coming. Be prepared. Well, here we are.
well, I don't really like when people say things like that, be prepared, because I think that creates fear.
Okay.
Like how much is your life really going to change? That depends on you,
Right. Right.
not on what
Maybe
goes
it's
on
more to the
around you.
point. Big
No,
shifts are coming. Thought you might like to know.
no, right. And this is not sustainable the way things are.
True.
Shifts for the positive are coming. And it's best if you hang on and not sit in fear. So that, I mean, that's kind of what you said.
Yeah.
Let the
Yep.
disappointments and the fears of the past
Yep.
go. So that's what I'd like everybody to know.
Love it.
No matter what, we're all good. And then walk in the light, because to share the light, you need to walk in it. There you go. Anyway, well,
I'm
that's
with
it
you.
for now. Have a wonderful week. We will see you next week. And talk about I don't know what, but high five.
High five.